Hi friends, I'm traveling this week, so I thought I'd just film a quick Q&A for you. Also, these are troubled times. I mean, the people want answers. So I went on Patreon and asked if you had any questions for me, which, by the way, if you want to become a patron, that is within your rights. And here's what we got. Liz asked, what is one of your dream video projects if you had unlimited time and budget? What I really want is to create an oral history of Black voters who came of voting age before the Voting Rights Act of 1965 came into being, and just sort of hear about their experiences trying to vote beforehand and kind of how that's changed over time. Lauren asked, what is your favorite thing you've ever written? I think of the videos that you can actually watch on this channel, it would be my one about names. It's actually like one of the worst shot videos I've ever done. It looks horrible, but I stand by the words. I also really like the video that I made about my personal mythology and what that concept is and what it means to me. And it inspired the series that I'm making now about other people's personal mythologies. Things that aren't on this channel. I'm really, really proud of this series that I wrote in 2016 called How to Vote in Every State. I'm not quite sure if everything's still accurate right now, but I really just like that that was a resource that I could help contribute to help more people vote. Miriam asked, what are some of your favorite stories, medium agnostic? So one thing that I really like is retold or kind of reimagined mythologies or fairy tales. So Isabel Greenberg's Encyclopedia of Early Earth and 100 Nights of Hero, all of Helen Oyeyemi's work, that stuff is just really, really cool to me. It's the kind of stuff that I read and go like, I wish that I'd wrote that. And because you said medium agnostic, I also really, really like stories told through music. So if there's an album that tells a story kind of from its start to its finish, so like the Mountain Goats' Tallahassee, Beyonce's Lemonade, Julie Nune's Some Feelings, if there's like a narrative arc that runs through your album, I'm gonna be really into it. Nicole asks, how do you get started working on a political campaign? Do you just show up like Donna Moss on The West Wing and convince someone you might be valuable? So yes and no. My experience I feel like was really unique because I got to like a pretty senior level on a campaign without campaign experience, which is like pretty unusual. I happened to know somebody who already worked on the campaign, who knew of my work from YouTube and Twitter and thought that I would be good for a position. But actually, when I interviewed, it turned out that position didn't exist anymore. What I decided to do was like, okay, maybe there's no job, but I still want to volunteer. So I flew out to New York, I stayed on my friend's couch, and I just did kind of whatever needed doing that people could find for me. So I wrote blog posts, I translated emails into Spanish, I edited audio and video clips, just kind of whatever people needed me to do. And I think that convinced people that I had value and I could offer something. So when a new round of jobs did come around, I was one of the first people they called. But again, I was lucky enough that I knew someone, so that was even an option for me. If that's not access that you have and you still want to be involved in campaigns, call your local field office or your local like state political party that you want to be involved in and ask if you can volunteer. Usually kind of the entry level to campaigns, if you've never worked on one before, is a field organizer position. And that's where you like organize volunteers and you knock on doors and you make phone calls and you build relationships. So those people who already have those jobs are looking to build relationships with you, and you can start volunteering and kind of showing people that you're passionate about this and you're willing to work hard, and that's a really great way to get your foot in the door. Colin asked, what was the biggest misconception you had about New York before you moved there? The first time that I came to New York, I was in my summer before senior year of high school, and I came with my parents and we stayed in a hotel like in Times Square and we did all of the touristy things, and I hated it here. I was like, there's too many people, it's too commercialized, I can't even walk without bumping into people, it's miserable. I had no intention of ever really moving here, but then I came out for a couple of work trips and I had friends out here, so I'd come visit them sometimes. And once I got to see the actual neighborhoods and feel like it was a real place, I grew to love it. Joanne asks, what is the most challenging part of relocating to a new city and making new connections? That's a question that I don't totally know the answer to, because when I lived in Seattle, I lived there for like a year and a half and never really made good friends. And I think that's because I was freelancing / unemployed at the time, and I always kind of make my friends through work. So I think for me the hardest part is finding that place where you can find your people. So all of my friends in New York are people that I either worked with or from YouTube. And in hanging out with them, I then get to meet their friends and kind of expand my circles out a little bit, but it's definitely easier here than when I moved to places where I didn't know anybody at all. And finally, Pelisa asks, has there been a thing or situation that you've seen that you thought was the funniest thing that you've ever experienced, but other people didn't think so? Like where you couldn't stop yourself from laughing? Pelisa, it's my own tweets. Like, I think I'm very clever sometimes, but I am just not doing numbers. So that is all the questions for this week. Let me know in comments what other questions you have for me, or if there's something that you thought was hilarious that nobody around you got. If you like this video, you can subscribe. You can find me anywhere on the internet at ItsRadishTime, and I will see you next week with another story, I promise. Bye!